Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm your host, Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about We Are Always Watching by Hunter Shea. This is from Sinister Grin Press, and it's the story of West Ridley, a young teenage boy who, due to some bad circumstances, he and his parents have to move in with his grandfather, Abraham, and they're moving from New York City to way out in the sticks in Pennsylvania. West and his parents are not happy about this. His father, who is Abraham's son, has not been home in years and years and years and years. And the farmhouse they move into is just falling down, and Abraham's a bitter old drunk. And he tells West that the place is haunted, but West is into horror, and he and his best friend back in New York wanted to be like ghost hunters, so he's kind of into it. But his first night, he goes up to his new room, and he sees on the ceiling someone has written, "We are watching." No, "We see you." Excuse me. "We see you" is written on the ceiling. "We Are Always Watching" is the name of the book. So these mysterious messages start appearing in and around the farmhouse that do say things like "We are watching," and they're signed the Guardians. And that's where we're at. There's your little tease into the book. So, man, Hunter Shea, right off the bat, I'm just going to say, Hunter Shea just gets better and better. The man is honing his skills to a sharp point. This book is fantastic. It's a bit of a departure for him, excuse me, in that it's more of, I think, a slow burn than any of his other works, at least the ones that I've read. He does have a few things I haven't gotten to yet. But it's definitely a slower story, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It moves along. It reads at a brisk pace. I suppose the characters are very compelling. And the circumstances, I can tell you this, the circumstances that have led to West and his parents moving to Pennsylvania is his father was hit by a drunk driver and suffered brain damage, suffers from crippling vertigo, which is, wow, the way it's described in here, it's a horrible thing. And so he couldn't keep his job working construction. And, of course, they ran through their money and just couldn't afford to live where they were living. So they had to move in with Grandpa Abraham, the crotchety old bastard. Now, West's mom still works, and she's got to get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, drive to the bus stop, and then it's like a 2-hour bus ride to work. To and from work, 2 hours every day. I wouldn't want to do that, but she's the only one making money for the family. So there's all this sort of family tension going on, and then again, West's father hasn't been home, hasn't seen his own father in a long, long time, and the old man really is just a drunk old bastard. Treats his own son and the rest of the family like crap. And there's rumors going around. West's father had a sister who died when she was a little girl, and then his mother died, and the old man just gets more and more drunk. And then you have these notes, these messages that start appearing. And they become more and more intrusive. In that, the "We see you" on the ceiling of West's bedroom has obviously been there for a long time. It seems to have been there for a long time. Anybody could have put it there. When these new messages start showing up, they start outside, but they start appearing inside as well and becoming, again, more and more intrusive and weird. And Grandpa Abraham just kind of blows them off, but West's dad reveals that this is something he went through when he lived there as a kid. So and it's something we learn that's been going on for a long, long, long time. But again, it's slowly builds. But the characters, West is a really interesting. Of course, any character that is into horror and stuff, there's lots of nice pop culture references. So I dig that. And so West is an interesting character. West's father, I mean, you can't help but feel bad for the guy. I've suffered from migraines, so I know how bad that can be. I've never had vertigo, but as bad as a migraine is, if you add this, at least the way it's described, if you add vertigo to it, I don't know how he keeps going. Just absolutely horrible, horrible condition. And it makes him bitter. At least he's not a drunk, but he's definitely bitter. And West's mom is just trying to hold everything together, bring home the money. And then there are other characters that we meet along the way, and they're all pretty interesting. West meets a girl, good for him. Meets one of Mrs. Ridley's co-workers, learn about some others, and there's some neighbors and this and that, all sorts of stuff. And they're so well written. They're such interesting characters. The dialogue feels so natural that as slow as the story is, as I said, it doesn't read slow. It's compelling. You're going to want to keep going. And believe me, it builds to a crazy climax. Once secrets start being revealed and everything comes to a head, it is wild. It is well worth the ride. It's a pretty good sized book. Let's see, over 400 pages, 450 pages about, but Sinister Grin does have pretty big print, and it flies by. Just really, really compelling storytelling. I'm going to put, this goes up there with easily one of my favorite Hunter Shea books, and at least top 10 for the year at this point, possibly top 5. We have more than half a year to go, so who knows what else is going to pop up, but definitely worth a read. This, just the amazing characters, the tension builds as we slowly pry things from Grandpa Abraham. It's going to build higher and higher, and between everything else that's going on just in their lives, the bad stuff happening that could happen to anybody, and then this bizarre, these weird messages, it all just will get under your skin, and you'll tense up, and you'll be rooting for the Ridleys. Maybe not Grandpa Abraham so much, but the others. Really, just compelling, fantastic storytelling. And apparently, this was inspired by a true story. I really don't think it was this story, but apparently there were some people that moved into a house and got these weird messages that someone was watching them. So actually, you can check out Hunter Shea's website. I think he's probably got a little bit about the story on there. I subscribe to his newsletter. That's where I read about it. But I assume it's on his website, archived somewhere. So you should check that out. But definitely have to check this out. Even if you don't check out his website, check out this book. I gave We Are Always Watching by Hunter Shea, I gave it 5 out of 5 Ash Costellos. She's the lead singer from a band called New Year's Day, and there's a reason that I used Ash Costello, but you'll have to read the book to find out. And I know what you're thinking, looking at this rating. You're thinking, hey, Eric, you cheated. You must have cut her picture out of a magazine, because that's photorealistic right there. But I'll tell you what, I drew these by hand. I know you probably don't believe it, but I did. So 5 out of 5 Ash Costellos for We Are Always Watching. Absolutely fabulous. I said, Hunter Shea just gets better and better. And I don't know if he's most known for his cryptid books. He's got the Montauk Monster and the Jersey Devil, and he's got a few others that have come out. Swamp Monster Massacre, and some newer novellas, that deal with cryptids. And it's a big thing. He loves the cryptids. I like cryptids too, but he has done other things. He has a popular series, 3 books long so far, with his psychic character, whose name I can't remember at this point. But we talk a little bit about those in an interview I did with him. Maybe I'll put a link for that up here somewhere. But sometimes he seems to step out of his, I don't know if it's his comfort zone writing about the cryptids and stuff, but he steps outside and does something different. Tortures of the Damned was my favorite book of his the year it came out, just a few years ago. And now this goes up there. This one, as I said, it's going to be easily one of my top 10 of the year, if not top 5. Easily one of my top 5 Hunter Shea books. I absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5. The lovely Ash Costello. You got to pick this up. And I will have links for it, 1 or 2, in the description down below, just to make it easy for you, so you can just grab one. But I know I'm gushing. It happens on occasion because this is just fantastic. So, links for the book in the description below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. So, if you want to know more about the plot, but there really isn't, in this particular case, there's not that much more to tell as far as detail. Well, I could give you real details, but that's what you read the book for. But it's pretty simple, straightforward as far as plot goes, or at least the general idea of the plot. There are some twists and turns, and like I said, there's secrets revealed at the end, and things go crazy. Holy crap! But anyway, if you want to know any of that, just ask in the comments below. We'll post spoiler warnings and talk about it. Please like, share, and subscribe. So I think that's it for this episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I have been your host, Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.